we're just hopping on talking a lot about all this new study about EBV and triggering lupus. We're talking about autoimmunity and what are the triggers? Are there other viruses that trigger autoimmunity? That's what we're talking about. So there's most of my patients that have autoimmunity will pop on and they'll say, listen, I had COVID, I had another virus, I had H. pylori, I had a bad infection, I had something that altered the immune system and triggered autoimmunity. It's very, very common. So when that happens, we have an immune system that is overacting, right? And that's what happens is you have this overacting immune system. So you wind up feeling like, gosh, I never really turned that off. It just feels like it's always continually attacking. So what's happening with that EBV, what they were talking about with Stanford with that virus, it's the mono virus, right? People are getting mono and they are feeling sick and they never quite feel better again. Or some people will feel they recovered from the virus, but then when they get under stress or they lose sleep or they don't eat well, then all of a sudden they wind up with a flare of mono. And then you get these mono symptoms, which are, you get, swollen lymph nodes, and mostly you just get this super heavy exhaustion. I mean, the immune system is working really hard trying to take this virus and put it into dormancy, right? It's like putting it in the basement and shutting the door, right? But what happens is that with people that actually have lupus, and this can be MS as well, and other autoimmune diseases, like you could probably translate this to many autoimmune diseases. But what they're doing at Stanford, which is really helpful, is they're actually proving that this is the case. So they're saying, listen, people with lupus, 1 out of 400 of their little B cells, which is your immune cells, has EBV. Whereas a regular person that doesn't have lupus, it's 1 out of 10,000. So this is a really big deal. It's kind of so many of us have known this, but it's nice to be validated by someone like Stanford that's doing these studies saying, yes, you are correct. So I'm hoping this is going to help for us to understand how to manage this condition a little bit better. Lots of people have been asking me about well, how can I manage it? So I was just consulting. I have somebody in my office that's a PhD in Chinese medicine, and we've been really working with formulas and how do we manage this virus efficiently. There's actually an herbal company called the Herb Company, KAN, and I'll put it down in the notes too. I just made a post about it too, and I put it in the notes too. And it's called it's a weird name, the Buplurum and Kudzu Clearing Formula. So I'll put this link in the notes and I'll have it on my TikTok. If anybody wants to get this formula, feel free to message me. I can send you a link to get it. You can get it under Fullscript or Emerson. There's a lot of different ways that I can send you links to just get it. So it's got things like Chinese skullcap, which is really antiviral. This thing called kudzu, which is who knew? Apparently it grows a lot in the South. It's kind of invasive. Ginger helps. So does licorice root, Chinese licorice root. There's a whole formula, and this formula has been made for getting your immune system to be able to put viruses into dormancy, just trying to get them cleared out so that they can go quiet, because these viruses are wild. They come in and they never leave, right? So this is a really big deal. They don't want to leave. So anyway, we've got lots of people to think about, what are we going to do about these viruses, right? We have them in our body. Our immune system's supposed to manage them and keep them at bay. So how well are you doing that? Do you tend to get run down and then you get overwhelmed by a virus? I mean, if this is happening to you, then that might be your trigger, especially if you have an autoimmune condition, whether it's Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, Sjogren's, MS, lupus. I mean, those are just kind of the top 5, right? I mean, there's so many. There's as much tissue as in our body, they can name an autoimmune disease after it. So we want to think about what we're doing also with our vitamin D. Are we taking enough vitamin D? So EBV, Epstein-Barr virus. You say that word and people think that it's something with all these files that are being released, but this is EBV. It's also the virus that causes mono. So this is the virus that people get. 95% of people have been exposed to it. and it's very commonly gotten like when you're in your teens. They call it the kissing disease. It's very easily spread, right? So there's a study. There's lots and lots of there's other triggers, right? There's other triggers for autoimmunity, but EBV is one of them. H. pylori can be one of them. COVID was one of them. Boy, that's been crazy too. So I think as we go, we're gonna learn a lot more about other viral triggers, and it's a pretty big deal. So what happens with EBV is it actually gets into your immune cells, your B cells, that are supposed to be telling your immune system, hey, look out for these things. Hey, I saw COVID, look out for it, right? It's like a little wanted poster, it puts it out there. But what happens is they put this wanted poster out that says, hey, I think that her own joints need to be attacked, which is like crazy. So then all of a sudden your immune system is attacking you. Okay. So that's what we have to be careful about is like, how do we get that? How do we lower the viral load so that we can get this under control? So a lot of these herbs that you can use are very helpful. Chinese skullcap. There's another one called Isatis, Isatis. There's one Chinese licorice. There's Chinese ginger rhizomes. So ginger root. What else? I'm looking at the list right now. What are the other things? Kudzu root. Really, really helpful. So there's a blend that I like to use because, I never really know who's going to respond best to what. The only thing we need to worry about, licorice root can increase your blood pressure. So you want to be very careful if you have high blood pressure. Then maybe we need to find a formula that would just be Chinese skullcap and kudzu and not be licorice. Okay. Someone is saying, they have POTS with syncope, lupus pending. Boy, yes. So what can you do? So lots of things you can do. We need to think about lots of things. And so I've actually made a whole program that'll be out shortly that you can take a little course. I made a 13 module course so you can learn a lot of things about how to manage your autoimmunity. But I'm going to go through some of them here. So, getting lots of protein in your diet, keeping your blood sugar steady, making sure that you have lots of vitamin D. I want your vitamin D to be like 70, 80, 90. I don't want it to be 20, 30, right? That's not helpful. Glutathione can be very helpful. Making sure you're getting plenty of sleep, making sure you're getting some exercise, maybe making sure your stress levels are not through the roof, because that can really cause a trigger for autoimmunity too, right? Lots of things to do. So this person's ANA positive with no symptoms. So here's the thing. So there's a lot of people that have do you have like a low positive, like a 1 in 40 or a 1 in 80? That can be something where the immune system has said, listen, I could attack something of my own body, but I'm not doing it yet. So it's kind of like a preliminary thing to go, make sure you watch that 1 in 80. Okay, so if you don't have any symptoms, great. I want you to think about getting on some vitamin D, 5,000 I use every day. I want you to think about, do you react poorly to gluten and dairy? A lot of people with autoimmune markers do. Does it make you bloated? Does it make you tired? Something to kind of investigate, see how you feel. Make sure you're eating protein with all your meals. Make sure you're increasing your veggies. People can have food triggers. Depends on kind of what your symptoms are. Kind of go through and go, if you have bloating, we might have leaky gut. If you are super exhausted all the time, do you have a viral overload happening? Did this start after you had mono? Did it start after you had COVID? Did you have that and then it stayed? It feels like that fatigue stayed. But if you don't have any symptoms, then I just want you to keep an eyeball on it. Maybe once a year, you just run an ANA, make sure it's not getting too high. Add vitamin D. You can always add something like glutathione. Glutathione is a really helpful supplement. It's an antioxidant in our body. It's really protective of your tissues of your body. So if you took vitamin D and glutathione, you might get your immune system to just kind of chill out and stop being ANA positive. It's possible. Some people can do that because they're low level. Some people can't. It's fine. We just want to calm the immune system down. Okay. So sometimes you can get triggered because you do get COVID or you get the flu or you get, some sort of sickness, something like that happens. So, yeah, best viral. So oil oregano works for you. Yes. And you get very triggered by eggs. The top 5 food triggers that I find with autoimmunity is gluten, dairy, corn, soy, and eggs. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody needs to get off of eggs or everybody needs to get off of, those things. It's just that you want to maybe you wanna take those things out of your diet for a minute and see how you feel and then slowly bring them in, because if you feel like they trigger you, that might be a trigger for you. So, um, lots and lots of things, lots of people talking about EBV and viruses and triggering autoimmunity. And so that is because that Stanford study just came out that said, listen, I think that EBV is a trigger for lupus. So I think that they're going to also find that COVID can trigger. I think they're going to find other viruses are potential triggers, but this is something that they're finding. So we need to consider, what are we doing around viruses, right? What are we going to do if we feel like our immune system is like, oh, if you're always getting sick? Because if you miss a couple nights sleep, or if you feel like you get really stressed and you get run down and you get sick and your throat's sore and your lymph nodes are sore and you just feel like you're super run down and you're always like that, then we want to think about, is your viral load too high in your body? Is your immune system a little overwhelmed with the viruses that are existing there? That's possible. So we want to think about, like, what are we going to do about it? Like, how do we get your immune system supported so that we can get you feeling better, right? So EBV has been triggering these things all along. Medical Medium wrote a book on it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that this is like, a lot of us that are hearing this study are like, of course, right? We knew this, but I'm always so happy when someone like Stanford pops in and says, you're right, right? It just really helps with the medical gaslighting, because a lot of my patients get gaslit and they just are like, I know that this is it, but then their doctor's like, that's not it. So it's a little frustrating. So, but the celery juice, um, yeah, celery juice makes you sick. Yeah, sometimes, it's funny to kind of watch your diet and watch how foods make you feel. I also have a lot of deeper content over on YouTube if you guys feel like you need longer. I'm making a lot more longer form content about autoimmunity over there. I just did a blood sugar one because, we need to figure out, how do we manage these bodies a little better so that we don't get constantly sick, we're not exhausted and our joints are hurting and things like that. I see a lot of people with blood sugar issues, rising blood sugar, prediabetes, especially women that are in perimenopause and menopause, because then all of a sudden the body got really, insulin resistant because we lose our estrogen. So that's kind of interesting that lots of hormone discussion is happening these days. This is really great. So, and somebody went carnivore and reversed your Hashimoto's. Yes, okay, it helps your psoriasis as well. So here's what I would do from there is you can go into doing carnivore. You can also do a diet that's called autoimmune paleo diet, AIP. And that one is like, it takes out all the grains, dairy, eggs, lectins, nightshades. That's pretty much it. And so it kind of puts you on meats and vegetables that are kind of not problematic. So you could kind of go from carnivore. If you wanted to go and expand that a little bit, you could go into AIP, autoimmune paleo, right? Because that's going to include a lot of veggies that probably aren't going to trigger you, fruits and veggies that aren't going to trigger you. And then one at a time, you could try some things, or you could just stay where you are, right? So that if you're finding that's working, you have food triggers for sure. And it'd be nice to know what those are. So it'd be fun to kind of figure that out. What if you do if you're broke with 2 kids? Hey, listen, food is medicine, okay? What I would spend my money on is I would spend my money on vitamin D. Get a good vitamin D. Get a vitamin D that's like 5,000 IUs, right? If you need a link to a really inexpensive liquid vitamin D, DM me. I'm happy to give you one. It's like 15 bucks and it will last you a couple of months. So doing that, eating protein at every meal, veggies at every meal would be a great thing. Super helpful. So you did first before carnivore, but then the veggies are flaring my joints. So I started eating meat and broccoli. Great. You know what? Keep yourself there for a little while. And maybe what you do is just kind of slowly start things that are kind of like seem reasonable, right? Maybe you expand it a little bit into some different veggies. Maybe try something completely new, right? Maybe you try some radishes and see if that makes you feel okay, or some squash or some zucchini or something kind of neutral that's not necessarily nightshade and it's not necessarily something that's like lectin, like peas or anything like that could really be triggery. So you're doing 5,000 IUs of, okay. But are you still low? Um, yeah, you should do more. So if you have autoimmunity, you're going to have a hard time absorbing vitamin D. You just will. So you might have to go to a liquid. You might have to go to like Thorn has one, and Apex has one, and Quicksilver has one. If you do a liquid, it's in like an oil base, and you can usually do each drop is like 1,000 or 2,000 IUs. I'd probably go to like 10,000 IUs a day for you until you really notice it start coming up. Okay. Now, um, some people will have a hard time digesting fats. Any of you that have issues with digesting fats, like maybe you have a gallbladder issue, most of these people will have a hard time absorbing vitamins A, D, E, and K. A, D, E, K are all fat soluble. They have to be digested by your gallbladder because your gallbladder has to squirt bile and you have to use that to absorb. So if you're having a hard time at all with digesting fats, then we might want to clean out the gallbladder so that you can do that better. So that's something to think about. Is a TPO of 1, a thyroglobulin of 9 worth investigating? That's pretty borderline. I think I would watch it, right? I would watch it. But, I think that your fatigue and your tinnitus and your migraines, I would think about doing a little bit of food challenge. I would think about having you get on like an autoimmune paleo diet, just something that's just restrictive for a few weeks, right? Just get on meats and veggies that are pretty neutral for a few weeks and then slowly bring some different foods in. Sometimes fatigue can be blood sugar issues. Have you ever used a blood sugar monitor before? I mean, that's another thing that you could do is get on a blood sugar monitor and then really see it. Are you spiking and dropping on your blood sugar? Because that can cause a lot of fatigue. That's really frustrating. So we are thinking about other things that are triggering for our autoimmunity, right? And if you've had a low level autoimmunity, like positive, like a low ANA, or like you're saying, a low thyroid globulin antibodies, we want to think about things that could be triggering, right? So different foods can be triggery. Gluten can be triggery. Gluten and dairy are number 1 and number 2. Okay. So those are like, if you can get off of gluten and dairy and that makes you feel better, amazing. Not a lot of people are thriving on gluten and dairy. Some people can tolerate it better than others, but not everybody does really well with that. So thinking about getting your diet just more full of protein. How much protein are you guys eating? I mean, I really want you guys to be eating like 100 grams of protein a day. Can you get that done? So I just hope that you can get some protein in. I mean, hopefully you can do like 30 grams of protein, 30, 40 grams of protein in every meal. Someone's already lactose intolerant. Yeah, it's funny. Lactose is hard. Um, Dairy proteins, the casein dairy proteins are really hard to digest. And here's a weird thing. So gluten and dairy, they both have proteins in them. And those proteins, when you break them down, they look a lot like the proteins of our actual body. It's very strange. They call that cross reactivity or molecular mimicry. So if your immune system is like, I hate gluten, I hate dairy, and then it goes, wait a second, that looks like my thyroid gland, it can rev up the attack of your thyroid gland or your joints or whatever autoimmunity. So when we get food triggers out, then we can get our immune system to calm down if that is a problem. So I want you to think about dairy's hard to digest, right? It really is. So it's tough. So now, how do you regulate your nervous system to help with vestibular issues? Are you dizzy? You having some dizziness? Dizziness is tricky. So, first of all, people get dizzy because they have low blood pressure. POTS is one of them, right? You stand up, your blood pressure doesn't go high. You can get dizzy because your blood sugar is too low, that off balance. Okay. Do you notice when you lay back in bed, like lay flat down on the ground, do you get dizzy? Because if you put your head back or if you look back and you look up like on a top shelf, does that make you dizzy? Because if that does, then you might have some when you're still okay. So sometimes you can have a little bit of like, I don't know if you've heard of these little crystals that can get dislodged in your inner ear. Have you ever heard of this? It's called BPPV, benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. That's something that can happen. And you could, vestibular migraines too, for sure. Yeah, okay. That's a big one too. And it can make you dizzy. So yeah, sometimes it's a migraine thing. Sometimes it's positional. That's BPPV. You can look online and look at like an Epley maneuver. Epley maneuver really does help with the crystals. You can find a PT or a chiropractor that usually does that, can reposition for that. Vestibular migraines are rough though, man. What are the triggers for that? I mean, do you have any food triggers? Or if you don't get enough sleep, or if there's all sorts of things that can happen with vestibular migraines. Those are no fun. They're terrible. No gallbladder. So maybe that's why your D3 isn't absorbing. Yeah. So the TUDCA is great for your gallbladder. Yes. So you should take that every day. Start cleaning out your gallbladder. You could also get on milk thistle. That'll help to thin out your gallbladder. You know what you could also do is you could take with a fatty meal, you could take your D, and like if you're going to have some avocado or some, olives or olive oil or something or whatever, you could take bile salts and lipase. There's a good supplement that's called Digestion GB by Pure Encapsulations that has lipase and bile salts in it. And that's a great supplement. You could take one with that meal with the fat, and it would help you absorb your vitamin D. Yep. So that would be helpful. That's probably why that's happening. So went to a physical therapist. They said that I don't have vertigo, been dealing with it for 3 to 4 years. Oh, that's really frustrating. I think you might want to get a second opinion. You know who's really good at this? And I wonder if there's somebody in your area. There's some people that are really niche-y about this, that are really, really good at this, that work with eye movements and stuff. They're called chiropractic neurologists. Ever heard of these guys? Look and see if there's somebody in your area. They will put you in different positions, watch your eye positioning, and then give you exercises to reposition yourself. It's a really interesting little niche, and they're getting a whole lot of education around vertigo. That's who I would seek out if you can't figure it out. Sometimes the physical therapist will know, but sometimes they don't know. They only know like the basics. And if you don't fit in the basics, then it's frustrating. So I've been experiencing vestibular migraines. Yes. So what do we know what your triggers are? Yeah. If you could I would think about getting into like just doing like an autoimmune paleo diet for a little bit, maybe for a couple weeks. So it's like a Whole30 diet a little bit, right? But you're taking out nightshades, you're taking out lectins, you're taking out grains. You're really eating just meats and some vegetables for a couple weeks and see if your migraines settle. If they do, then I want you to slowly bring in some different types of foods to see what triggers, right? You might be able to figure it out. So that might be helpful. Also, okay, anxiety and stress rev it up. Yeah, that's a big problem. So we want to think about somebody says, "I don't have a gallbladder anymore. Is TUDCA still okay?" Yeah, so I okay, so you're having a fat issue because you're carnivore. Okay, so I would think you could when you take out your gallbladder, you still have your liver's still there with like a little bile duct, like it's a little bile duct. And sometimes what'll happen is the end of your bile duct will seal up a little bit and it'll create like a little baby gallbladder. So, and then that can help with some of the timing. So the TUDCA might help to thin out any kind of thick bile. But if I would spend more time, if you don't have a gallbladder at all, I would spend more time with the digestion GB, something like that, with like bile salts and with lipase. That would be helpful. Just take that with each of your meals. I think that might really help because, yeah, you have to be able to digest the fat if you're carnivore for sure. I hope that really helps. So many things, right? All of you are just like struggling with some different things. We have lots of autoimmunity happening, right? I mean, I really think that we're learning a lot more. I've made a little program that I think I'm excited to launch. I'm hoping it's ready by Thanksgiving. That's going to be hop on my website and then it's a little like 13 module program where you can learn a lot of the basics with autoimmunity. And there's a lot of resources in there where like what labs should I have done and what do my labs mean and what supplements should I be taking and what about this symptom and what about Hashimoto's specific diets and all these things that you guys need to know. How to balance your blood sugar, all these ways to manage your autoimmunity. And then there's going to be an autoimmune support group on Fridays so that you can pop in and just ask your questions and I'll be on Zoom. So I'm just trying to make myself create like a little bit of an autoimmune support group so that you guys can get supported, right? So it's important for you guys to know what's happening or should I worry about this certain thing or should I not, right? So it seems like we've got some people with some vestibular migraines and some dizziness and some tinnitus. So, I mean, that can be really brain based, guys. So, if that brain is not functioning 100%, it can kind of fire off and create this tinnitus. So, things we want to think about with the brain health. I mean, listen, I just gave a talk on this and I'm doing consistent talks on this because the brain is like such a big deal. The brain needs consistent fuel. So you guys need to make sure that you're not being hypoglycemic, right? So you're not running out of blood sugar in the middle of the day and you're not eating too many carbs, right? Now, my friend, Dr. Mindy Pels, she does the Fast Like a Girl. So she has a lot of really good tips on fasting for women. If you need that, I have her new book in the back, Age Like a Girl. So that's exciting. She's coming out with a new book, which is awesome. But lots and lots of things that we can be doing to balance our blood sugar. It's important. So yeah, there's a yeah. This is what I'm trying to do with this group. This autoimmune group is healthcare is expensive. Concierge doctors are expensive. Functional medicine doctors are expensive. So I'm trying to create this platform so that you can learn all the things you need to learn. You have all the resources available to you. You can come pop in on a Q&A. If you need to do a one-to-one, we can totally do that. And it becomes like it's a lower price point so people can afford to get in with someone who can help them interpret their labs, tell them what labs to take, like give you some guidance with your doctor to try to figure out what steps are next. And that's my goal, is to try to create something that's inexpensive. And then we create this really great group that we're working with, right? So that group is going to be starting, fingers crossed, I'm hoping by the 1st of December. It's just being built. So we're almost done. So, I mean, I've done my part, but I'm waiting for these people to finish it up. So, and wrap up my website, fix my website. So we're just rebuilding everything right now because I want you guys to be able to have some support. And even if you don't have autoimmunity, I mean, you guys need support. You don't know what you're doing. And you're just like going on chat and Googling things. And I completely don't blame you, but like, it's frustrating that you guys can't have access to rheumatologists or people that specialize in this stuff, because you should be able to connect with people, and people should be able to give you the ideas of, I have Epstein-Barr, what should I be doing about it, right? EBV, it's a big deal. It's mono, right? It's everybody gets it. 95% of people have gotten mono. And I think some people don't think they've had it, but when I really check people's blood work, almost everybody that I've tested has it, or it's active, right? So I don't know if you guys are getting blood work right now, or if you're looking at like what's happening with you. I find that most of my patients that are tired have blood sugar issues. I just made a really good 10-minute YouTube video just before I hopped on, just trying to get people to understand like how to balance their blood sugar, how to keep it steady, because it's really important to keep your blood sugar steady. People that are spiking too much, it's really tough because it makes you really exhausted when your blood sugar's up and down, right? So, can you have two patterns of ANA and still be healthy without autoimmune? Well, so your autoimmune markers are probably low, 1 in 40 or 1 in 80. So it means that your immune system has tagged something for attack. Okay. And what you're looking at the number, and you're looking at a pattern. So the pattern can give you a clue as to what you could be developing at some point, right? Now, it doesn't mean you're going to develop that. It just means that it's kind of like getting like a really, really early 0-stage cancer diagnosis that says, hey, you could develop cancer in your breast at some point. You're like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to make sure I check it out every year and make sure I'm fine, right? So, but you also want to think about, what else could I do to make my immune system calm down? Vitamin D is our number one, right? I want you to do 5,000 IUs of vitamin D. I want you to think about making sure you're eating protein at every meal. I want you to have a savory breakfast. We need to kind of get off of all the blood sugar spiking things. I want you to make sure that you're sleeping. I want to make sure that you're exercising some each day if you can. I'm having good relationships. I want you to make sure that your blood work looks good. This is other things you can check. You need to check for Hashimoto's too. You should check to make sure you don't, Hashimoto's, you check for thyroglobulin antibodies and thyroid peroxidase antibodies. Those are two markers that you want to check, because if you have one autoimmune marker or two, you're just like brewing in a little bit of autoimmunity. So it's like, are we thinking that we're developing anything else? If you have no symptoms, that's awesome, but just proceed cautiously. Always check it, always monitor it. And you might want to think about hopping off of gluten and dairy. Gluten and dairy can be really triggery for autoimmunity. So, let's see, low platelets and low platelets. Okay. Do you have autoimmunity? Do we know? So low platelets can be a few things. So it can be autoimmune, right? So it's possible that's part of autoimmunity. And you could, if you have low platelets, you might also be protein deficient. We need to think about protein makes our immune system and our red cells and our platelets. So make sure you're eating like 100 grams of protein a day and see if that changes because it might. You might just be needing more things to build your platelets, possibly, right? But it might be autoimmune too. It's called thrombocytopenia. Thrombocytopenia is a big deal because you could be bleeding, right? We don't want you to be bleeding, so that's not good. How often do you need to get your ANA checked? They don't usually run it as a part of your physical because a lot of doctors it's funny, I was talking to a Kaiser doctor this past week and I do a lot of talks and she said, well, I run a lot of labs, but I never run ANA. And I go, why? She said, because if there's a low level ANA, people freak out and then I feel like it's no big deal. And I'm like, but it's really, you could develop autoimmunity if your ANA is positive. I have a positive ANA. My daughter has a positive ANA. This is why I'm so passionate about autoimmunity because I couldn't find the resources for myself and I'm a healthcare practitioner. So I did all the studies and the learning with functional medicine, trying to figure out how else do we manage this? What other supplements should we be taking? What should we be staying away from for food? So I think that I'd get it done once a year. And then if it's not part of your annual physical, you can always contact somebody to do just that marker. If you ever wanted to contact me, you could say, run an ANA for me. I can send you a link on FullScript. It would cost you $15. Easy. The nice thing about cash labs, they're having these sort of cash labs that are coming out, which is great. And that's really helpful with through Quest so that you can get blood work done really inexpensively. I can do a giant panel on people for like $200. It's crazy. So hold on a second. Let's see. Someone just said, found out today I'm severely anemic, have to do IV infusions and surgery to check out my tummy. Okay. So iron anemia, probably. Okay. Do you feel like you're bleeding or something? Do you have an ulcer? Do you have celiac? That's something to rule out. That's an autoimmune condition toward your gut lining, right? It means like you have malabsorption, but it sounds like that maybe you might have a bleed. Here's the way to know if you have a bleed, an upper gastric bleed, because it doesn't look like blood when it comes out. It looks like black tarry stools. They're black and they're sticky. When you're bleeding from your stomach, your stools can get black and sticky. So if you've ever seen black, sticky stools that are just like, oh my God, I can't believe why is my poop black? Your stomach might be bleeding with a little ulcer. So I'm really glad that you're getting checked out. Let's figure this out, right? I mean, that's the thing. I'm glad that you caught it. And severe anemia means that you're probably bleeding from somewhere. And unless you're having really heavy periods, it might be coming from your gut, right? Now, someone has a borderline positive ANA after getting your blood work done and diagnosed with dysbiosis in your gut. Okay. So I think that we want to think about, are you getting treated for your dysbiosis? Are you working with a functional medicine person? I mean, you can certainly have an overgrowth of bad bacteria that makes your immune system fired up about it. It can cause leaky gut. That can cause autoimmunity. Okay. So we want to get to the bottom of that. And I would get checked to see if you have leaky gut. So that would be interesting. I love a test through a company called Cyrex. They do a blood test and it's like a couple $100 and it tells you if you have the leaky gut proteins coming from your gut in your bloodstream. Really great to know. We should know that. So that'd be interesting. But borderline ANA, don't get too worried. Just be mindful, right? Start working with whoever you're working with. And if you could run it again in 6 months and see if it changes, right? Because sometimes things change. So said I'm bleeding internally somewhere. So that's something we want to figure out, right? No symptoms, but yeah. So I'm really glad you're with this doctor that's digging into this because yeah, severe anemia means that you're bleeding from somewhere. So I'm super happy that you're getting that checked out. They'll go in, they might do an endoscopy. They might do a colonoscopy. They might do a few different type of scans to try to figure that out. Yeah. So, okay. So low ferritin. Let's talk about that. So Ferritin is stored iron. So you've got regular iron in your blood work, and then you've got ferritin, which is stored. So if you've been a woman and bleeding for a long time, it can really bleed out a lot of your iron. It can really reduce your red cells and it can reduce your ferritin. So if you have an extremely low ferritin, sometimes it'll make your hair fall out, it'll make you super exhausted. I'd be interested in knowing what your iron levels are in your bloodstream. If they're low too, then we need to think about getting more meats in your diet. Any kind of meats, chicken, turkey, red meat, any of those types of things. But also, if you need to do an iron, I really like Thorne's iron. It's by a company called Thorne. And it's called Ferrosorb. Really gentle on the gut, doesn't make you constipated. It's amazing. If you need a link, just let me know. Any ortho experience? Sure. Little bits of ortho experience, sure. And let's see, annual on Thursday. I'm sure to ask my doctor if that's included. If not, yeah. And ask them, say, can I just run an ANA? You tell them something like, hey, autoimmunity runs in my family. Can I run an ANA? They probably will. If they won't, message me. I can send you a full script link. Really easy. You could just give me your email and I could just pop it over to you. Red cell count, just found it today. So low red cell count. Okay. So you are bleeding, my friend. So let's get that handled. It's like having a slow drip at your sink and then it just, all of a sudden you're like, how did I know this was happening? So I'm glad that you figured that out. So this is good. So let's see. You're going to get scoped. Good, good. So been at it for 6 months now with a functional medicine doctor, but worried about the positive A and haven't reversed yet. It may not. I have a positive ANA. I am at 1 in 80. Has gone away. And I've done 1 million things. It's not going away. Now, my daughter had a 1 in 80 and hers went down to 1 in 40, which is almost negative. Great. But also, if she winds up getting like COVID, it'll probably pop up to 1 in 80 because it flares up her immune system. So I'd say your goal should not be to make it go away. I mean, of course, we'd love it to go away. But I think what I'd love for your goal to be is for it to stay steady, and you feel pretty good, and figuring out the dysbiosis, heal leaky gut, do all that kind of stuff. It might not go away because these autoimmune markers are wacky. Like they're kind of like light switches, right? They switch on and then we have control of like the little volume knob. So that's what we're working on. Well, what do we have control over? How do we calm this down? But you might not ever get that to switch off. I've been at this for 15 years and I can't get mine to shut off. Doesn't mean you can't. Doesn't mean that it's not possible because it does happen, but it just depends. So keep doing what you're doing. Get on your vitamin D. You could get on some glutathione. That would be helpful. Balance your blood sugar. Make sure that you just get lots of good sleep and are managing your body really well. Okay. So there's lots of things I'm going to tell you guys about my program once that it's out. If you wanted to do the little 13 modules, there's a lot of information in there on how to calm down your autoimmunity. It'd be helpful. So what does it mean to have low ferritin? So it means that you have, and you're craving ice. Okay, yeah, okay. These are all like running together. This is all iron things. So low ferritin means that you have low stored iron. So if you were going to have a bleeding emergency, there's no iron to go to. The storage is low. Okay. So, what you want to look at if you have your blood work is you want to look at your iron levels. I want it to be around 100. I mean, at least 75. If it's too low, you could get on some iron or you could really just eat more meat, any kind of meat, including chicken and fish. It all has iron in it. That would be helpful. Making sure you're digesting that well. I hope it's digesting well. But if you had low iron and low ferritin, I would put you on an iron supplement that is called Ferrosorb by Thorne, and it has B12, folate, vitamin C, and iron bisglycinate, which is very easy on the stomach. That'd be easier to take, but that's iron stores. Now, the person that's crave chewing ice, when your iron is low, you will crave ice. You will chomp on ice even to the point that your teeth are literally breaking. Like you will crave ice like crazy. Some people even crave like dirt or minerals. It's wild. So you're just craving iron, right? And that's how your body's kind of manifesting that. So I'm really, really glad that you have figured out that you're bleeding. So ANA, anti-nuclear antibodies. I know someone has a question. Anti-nuclear antibodies. If you are positive ANA, it's something that you can get run on your blood test. and you can see if you have any antibodies toward your own body, right? So it means that it's positive, and it could be positive for over 150 different autoimmune conditions. So that's what ANA means. So it's nice to get the ANA run from time to time. And it's just, and what I like, the one I like to have run is an ANA cascade. And what that does is, if it's negative, it doesn't go any further. If it's positive, it'll go down into some really good basic tissues to tell me, do you have any antibodies toward your own body? You shouldn't have antibodies toward your own body. You should have antibodies toward COVID and the flu and the strep and all the bacteria that are in the world, but it shouldn't be toward you. So if you have antibodies toward you, it means that your immune system is on the attack and it's attacking you. And we need to calm that down. Okay, that's what ANA is about. That's what autoimmunity is about. So you could have 150 different conditions that are named different things. It all means that the immune system is attacking different tissues. They name it for the tissue that it attacks. So they did my ferritin that is 27, and CBC levels are normal, and they won't do a full iron panel. That sucks. If they won't do it and you want me to do it, I can send you a link. It's not hard. And I can just email you the results. So, because you want to do a full iron panel. Iron, you want to do something that's called TIBC, total iron binding capacity. How much is bound? You want to see the percentage saturation on the little red cell, and you want to see your ferritin. You want to see it all. Um, why do doctors not run their blood work that we want to have run? It's so frustrating, isn't it? I mean, because we can know so much with chat and with Google. We can know so many things. Like, let's dig into this stuff, right? So fixed your vitamin deficiencies in A1C, eating super clean. Good. Yes. Just started your health journey. Great. We want you to be balancing your blood sugar. Blood sugar is kind of a big trigger for people, and they don't really realize that their blood sugar's off. So they feel hangry. They feel tired after a meal. They feel off. They feel dizzy. They feel shaky. A lot of people come in and say, I have chronic anxiety, and they have chronic hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, right? And then they eat and they feel better. That's a real big indication that that's why you feel shaky and yuck, right? So make sure you're eating plenty of protein through the day. I love fasting. I love my friend Mindy Pels, who does the Fast Like a Girl. She's great. She's awesome. She does all the good stuff with fasting. I have the Age Like a Girl behind me, which is like her new book that's coming out soon. I think it's coming out the 15th of December. So it's great to fast, but you have to be careful that you're not too hypoglycemic. If you are fasting and you run out of blood sugar and you get shaky and anxious, it's time to eat. Okay, no matter what is going on. And you can get a continuous glucose monitor on the back of your arm. Two companies that are running those are Lingo and Stello. Those guys are great. They're like $49 for one. You pop it on the back of your arm. It connects to an app on your phone, and it tells you everything about your blood sugar. Incredible. I love it. So somebody's mom had lung cancer. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. 3 nodules on her lung. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's very stressful. My gosh. And I'm sure that you get worried too, right? That's scary. Inflammation. Let's see. Inflammation's down. Super vitamin D deficient. Okay. One worried about the ANA. It's 1 in 80. So I'd say don't worry about the 1 in 80. I want you to be aware of it, right? I want you to kind of like go, okay, that's interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on that, right? Just something to watch. It's not something to freak out about, but also get your vitamin D up. Do you have enough vitamin D? I want you to take 5,000 IUs minimum. Now, if your vitamin D is super deficient, I start you on 10,000 IUs. I would do that. Your medical doctor will put you on a prescription of 50,000 IUs once a week. So let's just keep it going, right? I'd put 10,000 IUs every day for a month and then drop it down to 5. As long as you're absorbing it, as long as you have a gallbladder, you could absorb this. So vitamin D came back low too. They didn't say anything either. So now I take a 4,000 IU with a K2. That's perfect. Now you can take it D3 with a K2, and those are helpful where the K2 binds with calcium and helps to get it into your bones. So if you're going to take a D, you might as well take it with K2 because that's going to help your bones too, right? So great, do both. That's awesome. I love the liquid ones from, let's see, Apex has one. No, theirs doesn't have K2. Who has it? Thorn has one. Quicksilver has one. There's a bunch of liquids that are really good. So that's great. Take them. Be aggressive. I find that so many people are not taking vitamin D, and I'm like, why? It's the cheapest, easiest thing to do. Like, do it. Just do it. And it's helpful for recovery from COVID, helpful recovery from any kind of viruses. It really calms down the immune system. It's like a super vitamin. Like it's my number one favorite vitamin. I love it. Okay, so ANA is 1 in 40 with a speckled pattern. Fatigue is out of this world. Should I be concerned? Okay, you should be concerned because you're exhausted, right? So here's what I want you to think about. ANA is not driving all the fatigue probably at this point, but it could be part of the picture. Like it's like a puzzle, right? There's a lot of puzzle pieces. ANA is a corner piece, right? This is important. We want to know where it is. We want to watch it, but it's not high enough to be like 1 in 640, where I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is now a mainstay center of the puzzle. We just want to put it in the corner and say, great, interesting. I'd like to know. I'm glad to know that. Get your vitamin D to 80, 90. Okay. Get your vitamin D up. Eat protein like it's your job. Eat protein, 35 to 40 grams of protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I want you to eat a ton of savory breakfast, eggs, sausage. I don't care. Eat scrambles. Really you can do fruit smoothies, but don't be too fruity. Like don't spike your blood sugar, right? You can do a smoothie like maybe with a cup of berries and some avocado and I love collagen protein powder. Love, love, love. Really good for autoimmunity because a lot of grains are bugging people and whey is bugging people. So just getting some more protein in you is going to be super helpful. I would get yourself a continuous glucose monitor, put it on the back of your arm, Lingo or Stello, see what's happening with your blood sugar. We got to do some investigation. We got to investigate whether or not your iron is off because you could have, here's the things that cause fatigue. Like, let's just go over that for a second. Infections, iron, vitamin D being low, food triggers, gluten and dairy can make you super exhausted, and just blood sugar being up and down all the time. So those are the things we want to look at first when you're super exhausted. And let's get you sleeping, right? We got to get you sleeping. Vitamin D was at 18 and got it to 77. Yay. Okay. Yep. That's the thing. You got to stay consistent, especially in the winter because, viruses are going crazy. And if you have a good vitamin D, you can fight viruses a lot better. So, okay, vitamin D is okay, iron as well. Then let's work on your blood sugar and I would probably just like really work on like your protein intake, right? Protein, protein, protein. And I really want you to be eating some meat protein because it's really anchoring and stabilizing to your blood sugar. Okay. Eat some fats, eat some avocado, try not to spike your blood sugar with too much sugar. Hopefully that helps. You don't have a gallbladder. Will ox bile help you absorb it? Yes. So you could take, and you should take ox bile with a fatty meal. If you have anything is going to be like heavy sauces or butter or ribeyes or whatever that's going to be fatty, take a ox bile. You could even get a digestion supplement that has ox bile and lipase in it. Super helpful. Really helpful. So I want you to kind of really be careful about that because we need to absorb that fat to get into our brain. It's super helpful for your brain. Like even when you have fish oils, it's hard to like absorb the good oils for your brain when you don't have a gallbladder. Okay. So get a fat digestion supplement. I like the Digestion GB one from Pure Encapsulations. There's other ones out there. It's just the one I carry in my office. So what's normal sleeping heart rate? You have POTS. Okay. And it freaks you out when it's low. You kind of want to be looking at your heart rate variability, right? You want to be looking, do you have like an Aura ring? It would sure be good to have an Aura ring and kind of watch that, go up and down and see where that is. It depends. So many people like the heart rate low. It can get in the 30s at night. That's when you're really deep sleeping, and then it can pop up and down depending if you get up and go to the bathroom, your blood, your heart rate could get really high. If you're having POTS, I hope you're having salt on the regular with some electrolytes. That's super helpful to try to raise your blood pressure up a little bit. Sometimes you can do also licorice root. Licorice root capsules can help get your blood pressure up a little bit too. And your A1C is 5.9. Okay, so that's our answer right there. It's probably your blood sugar. Your blood sugar spiking and crashing is probably making you tired. So I want you to get a continuous glucose monitor, the Lingo or the Stello, and really work on trying to get your blood sugar rolling. Pop on my YouTube. I just made a 10-minute video about that. And it's going to talk to you about like ways to manage your blood sugar, how to stabilize it, right? Get your blood sugar kind of rolling and not spiking or crashing. And if we can do that, your body's probably just tired from like, I don't have enough fuel to I have too much fuel to I don't have enough fuel to I have too much fuel. It gets crazy and it gets exhausting. So let's work on, I want your A1C to like move to like 5.2 or 5.3. So you can do that. That's going to help you with your fatigue for sure. So I love that you have guys have all hopped on. This is so helpful. People don't realize that the blood sugar makes you so tired, right? You know, when your blood sugar goes too high, and your body's like, I don't know what to do with this. So it has to put it into stores, right? So it puts it into your liver and it puts it into your fat. It's almost like it turns on a little 3D printer and it prints on fat on your belly. Super frustrating, right? So anytime we spike our blood sugar, it like lays down on our belly. So we want to try not to spike our blood sugar. It's like this is a video game for your body. Okay, like these little CGMs that you put on your arm, it gives you a little range, and you're like trying to win the game by keeping the blood sugar steady. Okay. We want to keep it steady and not let it spike and not let it crash because then you feel like garbage. But it's a good experience to watch yourself on a continuous glucose monitor and go, oh, this is what I feel like when my blood sugar is running too low. Oh, and this is how I feel so terrible and ragey when my blood sugar goes too high. I feel like I want to like bite everybody's heads off when my blood sugar goes too high. I just feel super like agitated. And some people feel super anxious. So, and you're feeling lots of musculoskeletal pain with debilitating fatigue. Yeah. So this is like almost always when I have somebody with like fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue, underneath that, when you like peel back all the layers, because that's what we have to do is just really peel back the layers, is go, what's underneath this? And blood sugar is always under there. It can be anemias, it can be autoimmunity, it can be chronic viral triggers where you are super exhausted. So there's lots of things to consider, but blood sugar is almost always in any kind of fatigue. It's pretty wild. So an ANA was 1 in 40. Okay. So not anything to like worry about, but also like just keep an eye on it, right? If you can steady your blood sugar, oftentimes you can get your ANA to chill. If but also, like I said, again, sometimes the ANA just kind of sits there. And they're thinking hormonal, it's blood sugar. Don't waste your time. Go get yourself a CGM. You can fix this on your own. And hop on my YouTube. I just put one. It's called Blood Sugar Hacks, I think is what I called it. It's like 11-minute video. And it just talks all about all the blood sugar stuff. I'm doing longer form stuff because I feel like you guys need more than just TikToks. You know, you need like a good 10-minute talk about something, right? So if you guys have questions about certain things you want me to make a video about it, just tell me. I'm just going to start piling my YouTube full of videos because I really want you guys to understand what's going on. But also, if are you perimenopausal? Are you menopausal? You might need to get on a hormone. You might need to get hormone replacement going on. Don't hesitate if that's something that you want to do. But also fix your blood sugar. Okay, we're gonna fix that. Okay, PCOS. Oh my goodness. So yeah, PCOS. Let me tell you about what you have with PCOS. Lowering your cortisol with PCOS. So PCOS is really when your blood sugar like spikes a little too much and you develop a little bit of belly fat. It doesn't even have to be a lot, it just can be some. Your body will convert estrogen into testosterone. And then you get these really irregular cycles. People can have infertility, get a little hair on your chin, and all of a sudden you have what's called PCOS. It's like insulin resistance kind of goes hand in hand with that. So when your blood sugar rises, think about this. Let's say you're going to run from a bear, right? And you're like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. Here's a bear. I'm going to run from the bear. Your cortisol will go up and your blood sugar will go up at the same time because you have to have fuel to run from the bear, right? So blood sugar, cortisol, they both go up at the same time. So when your blood sugar's up, it will naturally drag your cortisol up and vice versa. Cortisol goes up, blood sugar goes up. So they both kind of go up together. They get a little married together. So when you have little bit of high blood sugar, your cortisol is always going to be a little high. So what we want to do is we want to get to the bottom of this. We want to really get like a blood sugar monitor on and start figuring out how do we hack into this and get my blood sugar like rolling, right? Little rises after dinner, little rises after breakfast, little rises after lunch, but nothing crashing and no spikes. Then you're going to feel so much better and you can get rid of PCOS. Okay? And your cortisol will drop too. Okay, symptoms of fibromyalgia. You're going to have pain in a lot of places in your body. I mean, you can like, your forearms and your wrists and your shoulders and your back and your legs and your hips. And I mean, it's just multi variations of pain in your body, right? And then you're going to feel exhaustion. And just you don't recover well from exercise. So you can exercise and you can get really sore. That's kind of the symptoms of fibromyalgia. There's a few more, but that's about it. 49 and postmenopause. Okay, so if you are looking at getting onto hormones, by the way, if you're in menopause looking to getting on hormones, great. That can help. That can help with your blood sugar and it can help with your sensitivity to insulin. Because listen, when we go into menopause, our body is not the same. I mean, welcome to the new body. It's different. It's not the same body. So the things that you ate when you were 25 are going to spike your blood sugar now. It's just we become really insulin resistant. Like we all become kind of pre-diabetic when we get into menopause. It's just the way it is. It's not even personal. It just sucks. So we have to kind of go, okay, we're going to go into a new phase, right? Of like let's get you on some bioidentical hormones. Bioidentical hormones are an estrogen patch, estradiol, and an oral progesterone, and maybe testosterone cream if they want you to have that. They'll usually do testosterone cream if you've lost all of your libido. So all they gave you was birth control. That sucks. That's not okay. Like, stop it. Are you perimenopausal, menopausal, or something? This is PCOS. All they give you, yeah, they don't know what to do. You know, it's funny. I met with some OBGYNs the other day and they don't really do functional medicine at all. They send us patients all the time. And they're like, what even is PCOS? Like, how are you managing PCOS with functional medicine? I'm like, what? This is insulin resistance. This is high blood sugar. This is prediabetes. What are you talking about? You got to change your diet. You got to get a blood sugar monitor. This is not hard. They don't know. They weren't taught. It's terrible. It's frustrating. I'm like, listen, come on, get with it. You're an OBGYN. You got to know about these things. So you don't need to be on birth control. We need to get your blood sugar under control. Someone's from South Africa. Hi. You're 65. Any advice on the treatment for sciatica? I do have spinal issues. Okay. Sciatica. My goodness, it sucks, right? Okay. So we want to think about some things. Do you have a disc bulge? Do you have like some stenosis in your spine? Ice is helpful. Cold plunges are helpful. Cold helps. Cold helps take the inflammation out. Fish oils and turmeric can help. Yoga helps. Let's get your stretching with like a figure 4 stretch, like kind of a piriformis stretch, like they call it pigeon in yoga. That's a helpful stretch. Yeah. And if you could get somebody to work on your back, is there somebody that can work on your back there to kind of make sure those joints are moving? Doing a little bit more core work, making sure you're getting your core stabilized would be helpful. I hope that helps. Gosh, that's frustrating, isn't it? Best way to treat Hashimoto's. You're on Tirosint. Tirosint is great. I really like that one. You also have type 2 diabetes, fibromyalgia. Okay, so that's where we're going to start, is we're going to start with the type 2 diabetes. Okay, so we need to get your blood sugar under control. High blood sugar can trigger autoimmunity to go further, to kind of, it like puts fire into autoimmunity. Okay, so we want to think about protein meals. We want to put like meats and eggs and veggies and things like that at your meals. I really want you to work on your protein. Collagen protein really is helpful too. It helps you to meet your protein goals. I want you to think about getting a continuous glucose monitor and trying to figure out how to get that blood sugar down. Let's figure out how to eat differently. I have a nutritionist in my office too that works on CGMs, and she works with autoimmunity and type 2 diabetes. If you want some support, she does Zooms. Let me know. Because we could turn that around. But your high blood sugar is probably driving your fibromyalgia and is probably driving your Hashimoto's. I like that you're on Tirosint though. I think it's a good medication. Things you need to think about, you need to be on vitamin D, everybody, right? Because it helps your immune system. But with Hashimoto's, you need to also be on selenium, 200 micrograms of selenium a day. Or you could eat a couple Brazil nuts every day. That's helpful too. Wow, I just lost a bunch of comments. Hang on a second. Okay. Do you think, here we go. Okay. Yes. So you have to advocate for yourself for sure. We got to these doctors are not advocating for us. A lot of them, that's for sure. What do you think about postpartum moms taking a low dose levothyroxine for underfunctioning thyroid? If you have a low functioning thyroid, feel free to take some levothyroxine to get you back on board because, you just went through a huge hormone shift. And if your thyroid changed, I want you to check and make sure you don't have Hashimoto's though. Do your Hashimoto's markers, see if your doctor will run that. Make sure you don't have Hashimoto's. After you have a baby, sometimes it can trigger autoimmunity. So if your thyroid is running low and you have Hashimoto's, you need to know about it. But I think it's fine. So don't want to do HRT unless it's natural. So let me tell you about that. So there are synthetic hormones and there are bioidentical hormones. They're different. Now, here's what's cool about medicine is they're moving into bioidentical, which is very cool. So bioidentical would be estradiol, okay? That's estradiol patch or estradiol cream. That's estrogen. And progesterone needs to be called progesterone and it's oral, but it's not called progestin. Progestin is what's in birth control pills and it's synthetic and we don't want to use that, okay? So those are natural, those are bioidentical, okay? So, oh yeah, your friend started semaglutide and reversed her PCOS. Sure, because you're getting your blood sugar under control. Amazing. Yes. Did yoga for the first time last week and went into a flare, body aches, brain fog, and fatigue and a migraine. Okay. Do you feel like you did too much yoga? I mean, if you feel like that triggered it for you, you might have some exercise intolerance that you need to really go slowly. Maybe you need to do like a 10-minute yoga video on your TV and on YouTube first so you don't exceed your threshold of what you can handle. Have you had a brain injury in the past? Are you susceptible to migraines? Be careful with exercise. If you feel like you get a big flare after exercise, you might be exceeding your capacity. And yoga classes are an hour. Sometimes you can't do an hour. Sometimes you can do 30 minutes and you just roll up your mat and go home. Like that's fine. Or just do it at home, right? Maybe you can't handle an hour. That's okay. Just slowly work up to it. You might have like exceeded your threshold. Okay. Oh, and then my friend Gwen came. Gwen, you were on a live. I just popped on a live too. So my friend Gwen is Lupus Chick. If you guys have autoimmunity, follow her, Lupus Chick. She's awesome. And we're talking about acid reflux too. Acid reflux, do you know, are there foods that trigger you and make you have acid reflux? Sometimes it's like, oh, I eat gluten and then I get reflux, or I get dairy and get reflux. That would be your answer. Let's figure out the food triggers. If not, you want to think about chewable deglycerized licorice. It's called chewable DGL. That's great. You can chew it and it helps to coat your esophagus. Great. Super great tool for acid reflux. There's a couple other things that can help, but that's a great one. Let's see. And okay, went to a holistic doctor. They want to start on myo-inositol. That's for PCOS. That helps to sensitize your body to blood sugar, which is helpful. But also get yourself a glucose monitor and let's watch your blood sugar. And if there's certain things you're eating that are spiking you, let's rearrange that food. Let's lower the carb. Let's add some more protein. Let's add some more fat, right? Veggie starter is the great way to go. Start with a salad. Start with veggies and then eat the protein with the fat. Have the carbs last. And if you're having too many carbs, it's going to spike your blood sugar. So be good to know. Because of leaky gut, hold on a second, and bacterial imbalance, got stool tested and had very elevated estradiol, try and Vitex. Also, you could try, anytime you have an estradiol, if you have high estrogen, you can use DIM, D-I-M, or you can use indole 3 carbinol. Those are all like based from cruciferous vegetables and it'll bind your estrogen and take it out. So that's helpful too. And Vitex helps you to build your progesterone. Super helpful. Yeah, so frustrating, right? When you can't get answers. So frustrating. What's the medicine for lupus? Well, it depends. These are biologics. They're medications that help to calm down your immune system, right? So you could be on Plaquenil. It's called hydroxychloroquine. You could be on a few different ones. Gwen, you want to weigh in at all on that one? On which one are the lupus medications? We want your immune system to calm down if it's being super, super crazy. So here's the thing, guys. If you have lupus or if you have autoimmunity that's really raging, I want you to be careful not to just live in one camp. We don't want to just live in the medicine camp. We want to do vitamins and supplements and functional medicine and braid them together, right? But we also don't want to live just in the functional medicine camp and not do medications because we can't have your immune system like literally destroying your body. Like it's not okay. So we have to kind of sort that out. Okay. So that's something that we have to be really careful. We have to live on both sides. This is the world of like, we have to be able to take all the information that's available. And boy, ChatGPT is pretty amazing too, was super helpful around that. So as far as people like assimilating information, you could always get on ChatGPT and upload your labs and it's super helpful. But if you need some help interpreting, I'm happy to help. You can always reach out to me. You could make a little, 30-minute consult with me or whatever. I am going to have that autoimmune group coming in the next few weeks when my website's finally ready, that you can just watch 13 different little modules of learning, like how to balance your blood sugar, what's the vitamin D, different diets for different conditions and things like that. It's going to have a lot of resources. It's going to have a lot of downloadables. What labs should you get from your doctor? What kind of diet should you do? Like what supplements should you take? What links? I mean, they all have links. And then it's going to be an autoimmune support group on Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific, because I'm here in California. So if you guys are wanting to join in on that, I will just be popping in and telling you guys about it. Once it's ready, I'll be popping on TikTok and just yapping about it. So anyway, I'm going to pop in to have some dinner, but I'm super happy that you guys popped in. And I'll probably be popping in again on Friday when I have some time, because I got patients tomorrow and Thursday. But happy you popped in, and hi Gwen, and everybody follow Lupus Chick if you haven't, because she's awesome and she's got lots of good resources there too. Okay. I'll see you guys soon.